Phone store employees of Reddit, what is the weirdest thing you have seen on a customer's phone? On 2 occasions I have had men try the super smooth move of, after checking that a data transfer has worked, handing the phone back to me with the gallery open to a deck pic. Do people think this will work? Other than that, a few times people have come in with phone trouble and unlocked their device with pronoun clearly playing. Sometimes you forget to close your tab afterward // On a more heartwarming note, an older man probably in his 70s was in, because his iPhone wasn't ringing, it was on do not disturb, happens all the time, and his wallpaper was a really cute chocolate lab. I told him it was a nice picture and asked if it was his dog. Now I just saw the picture online and thought it looked like a good dog.
N.
Had a girl come in with her mom. She was probably 14 or 15. This was back when you could set a banner to appear on your phone's home screen. I flip it open to start troubleshooting, and the banner says, "Put it in my blue wallet." I really wondered if her mom knew it said that. Not me, but my sister. She was screen sharing with an old man who wanted to transfer his pictures from his computer, and the first thing she noticed was that his background picture was a horse. Well, there's nothing wrong with that. Lots of people have their favorite animal as their background. But then she goes into his pictures and there's literally hundreds of videos and pictures of horse pronoun. Horses on top of people. Horses on top of other horses. She even swears he was in one of the pictures. The old man just laughs and says, "You must see a lot of weird stuff with this job."
N.
A customer came in one day complaining about a virus. We said, okay, well, take a look. Turns out, the instant you press the power button to turn it on, the phone is completely locked up, and you cannot avoid looking at a slideshow of very graphic CP. We gave him a temporary replacement phone, and contacted Verizon letting them know to send this guy a new phone, and also contacted the FBI to let them know of this virus. We got a letter from the FBI about 3 months later thanking us, as that phone had been helpful in tracking down the source of the virus and CP. The guy never came back in to get his replacement phone. Had a guy bring in his iPad because it wasn't receiving data. Had a look, fiddled with some settings. Eventually a power cycle resolved the issue. To test if it was working, I opened Safari, as I did, so a coworker asked me a question. So I looked away from the iPad. Next thing, we're all being treated to the pronoun this guy had been watching at maximum volume, which was able to load again now the data was working. Dude didn't even bat an eyelid, just said, "Oh, it's working, sweet," thanked us and left. I went and washed my hands after that. A customer came in with his girlfriend demanding we replace his phone, since we apparently sold him a used one. After telling them every phone we sell has to be brand new and sealed, his girlfriend told us that's impossible, since the one we sold him had Tinder pre-installed. Customer came in with a 16 GB iPhone that was running slow. Grindr took up 13 GB. The right smile said it all. It's surprising how many dudes keep photos of naked women as their home screen. It's also a little awkward to be working with a couple. Check the guy's phone to make sure his picture's transferred, and you see a whole album of his wife butt ass naked, and then you have to sit there across from her for the rest of the transaction. Used to work for a phone store. The weirdest thing I ever saw in a phone was a piece of wheel from a semi-truck. The guy was inflating high pressure tires and one exploded. He put his phone in the left breast pocket, and it may have saved his life. It made for a great insurance claim story. My coworker was helping a customer transfer his pictures onto a computer. He was sitting there with his business partner blubbering about how his wife left him, and she is such a bitch etc etc. Well, when you are transferring the pictures you can see thumbnails of them. Cue the pictures of the business partner sucking his dick hostile. I have another story with me helping this time. I was helping a mother and daughter with an issue where her computer wasn't picking up the pictures from her phone. It was an issue fixed easily, and the mom and daughter were giggling about all the pictures popping up on the computer screen until we got to the daughter's nudes. Mom starts screaming at the daughter. I closed the laptop and looked at the mom and told her she is going to have to wait until she gets out of the store for the lecture. They left in silence after that. Edit, a word. Not the weirdest, but the most memorable was when I was troubleshooting someone's emails that weren't sending out when she received an iMessage from her husband that said, "Are you sure you don't want one last mustache ride before I shave this bad boy off?" It was December 1st, so right after Movember, and she went super red in the face and grabbed the phone out of my hands and left. Lots of nudes. Usually intentionally left for us to see. A phone caked in what I would only hope was dog shit and not human. A phone caked in enough macup to have the keyboard stop working BlackBerry when those were a thing. Dead roach stuck behind the back of the phone case. Was working at Metro PCS selling phones, and this guy comes in with an old Samsung he wanted to put on our plan. Well, gotta pop that old SIM card out and put in a new one. Took off the phone case, and out fell a bunch of dirt and a single dead roach. It is a matter of professional pride that I finished changing over his phone before I freaked out privately in the back. I had a customer and his girlfriend come in, and the picture on his lock screen was a picture of the girl he was with, fully nude in a spread eagle position. The home screen picture was her tits. They had no shame about it. It was weird. Lots and lots of pronoun. The guy had videos of pronoun and thousands of photos of naked one. The guy is so obsessed with sex that he even had a lock screen of naked lesbians kissing and a general background of him and his wife kissing naked. That was by far the most interesting fix I've ever had to do, and the guy obviously did not care that everyone in the phone store knew about his sex obsession. I had a drug dealer return a phone without deleting any of their texts. They sold pills. Some sort of slang for hydrocodone. Worst part was, they were also texting their baby mama about being sad that the state took their kids from them. Apparently this guy that came in fairly often, he just didn't know what he was doing with technology, so we were his go-to guys. Had a picture of a black mannequin with a noose around its neck in his living room. I avoid him like hell when he comes in now. A technician forwarded me pics of a nude girl from a customer's phone, about ATO, in suggestive poses, but covering the naughty bits with pillows, stuffed animals, etc. He needed to know what our legal obligation is. Report to police, what to tell customer, etc. Worked Geek Squad at Best Buy, and an older guy walked in with his Samsung S6 saying it was running slow and kept shutting down. He gave us his passcode, and we told him we'd take it in the back to diagnose it. He had no qualms and decided to walk around the store. We plugged in the phone and unlocked it. The immediate background was a close-up picture of a woman's genitals. Thing is, it wasn't a grown woman. It was a picture of a little girl's genitals. We knew because you could see the diaper pulled down around her legs. We immediately locked the phone and called the Grams. He called the police and they arrested the guy there at the service desk. He had over 10,000 pictures on his phone. Wires was running slow, and they were all of underage kids. Apparently most of them were his various grandchildren, but others were from online. Most disturbing experience I have had with a customer. This man in a wheelchair came in because he couldn't send any picture messages. When checking what was taking up his memory, it was filled with pics of stock photos that he thought were from legitimate dating app users. Way too many pages open with questions like, what do genital warts look like? I just handed him his phone back and washed my hands. That or the pretty regular crazy / on drugs people. Yay for prepaid plan / used cell phone stores. Edit. Way too many anonymity backgrounds. I used to sell phones at a kiosk in a truck stop. Money was actually pretty good, and 90% of the customers were good people. This was around the time the Razr was the best phone out there, before iPhones. One guy came in complaining about his wife finding text messages between him and his girlfriend, like it was my fault that he was caught. I asked him how she found out, and he said she looks through his phone when he's home sleeping. The genius had his girlfriend saved in his contacts as Tiff, TXGF Tiffany, Texas girlfriend. I'm not necessarily proud of what I did next, but I told him, maybe you should change the names of your contacts. You know, maybe rename Tiff to Tom. It clicked in his head and he said, wow, I should do that with all of them. I'm sure his wife now thinks her husband has a weird relationship with Tom, Mike and John.
N.
So not weirdest but coolest. Guy was in Iraq and was shot. The bullet hit the phone first and slowed the impact. Guess the docs told him he would have died had the phone not been there. When he got back to the States he brought it to us for a replacement under his accidental damage warranty. We swapped it out, but if it had been I would have kept the phone. That saved my life instead. He handed me his phone so I could have a look and try to figure out what was wrong. His wallpaper was a vagina. A gaping vagina. Upon further inspection it was his wife's vajayjay. He legit gave no fricks. Another one was an old man. I'd say late 80s. His iPad wouldn't send emails, so I check it over, and he had the most filthy emails to his wife in China, who was around 23. So I'm there trying to fix the problem and all I can see are things like "I'm going to frick you until you are or and sore," begging me to stop. Couldn't look him in the eye after that. When you touch someone's phone they'll either warn you about naked photos when all I'm doing is restarting the phone, or not warn you about naked photos and there's just a naked vag as their home screen. I've heard men have me move their photos from their phone to their SD card, and while we are both looking at the screen, a pic of their dick appears. And usually they didn't care or seemed proud. People having hundreds of pronoun tabs open wondering why their phone is slow. People who downloaded any and every app that claims to boost signal, free storage or clears viruses, thus destroying their phone. One time I had a lady call in and say there's a pop-up saying I downloaded a virus from Pronoun. Well, as a woman, I don't watch Pronoun. This was during my last week, so I was like, well, as a woman, it wouldn't hurt you to be a little more open-minded. She asked for the manager. I was the manager. People with crusty and sticky bullshit on their phone physically that they came in to have me clean. I visibly gagged one time and got yelled at. I handed them their phone back and told them to leave whilst applying hand sanitizer. The most unsettling, an older guy who would come in once a month to move screenshots of young and pretty girls from their Instagram to an SD card. I showed him how to do it every time, but sure enough he'd come in the next month to move more. He one time saw a cute girl pay her bill, and after she left he asked me what her number was. I told him to never come in again. 6 years working for a local low-end phone store in the Midwest. I have hundreds of stories. Former phone store employee. I don't know about weird as much as completely expected. One guy, very Christian and very much a pain every time he came in, had a nasty coochie pic on his phone. I almost gagged. One sweet older guy was having issues with speed on his phone, and while he knew to close out your tabs he didn't know your Chrome app has its own set of tabs to close out. So while showing him how I saw he had 50 plus tabs open to Pronoun except the first one, that was the weather. Then two women, both clearly going through withdrawals, came in and one had tons of tit shots on her phone. I got into the habit anytime I was asked to move photos to a phone or storage of asking if there were photos they'd rather me not see. I don't judge, but it was worth asking. Most of the time people would check and give me the phone back after being sure. Lol. No one ever got mad I asked and just laughed about it. Tip for people who don't know how to use external storage, just Google it. It's super easy and you'll save possible embarrassment. Also make sure you keep your Google password somewhere, because we are not to blame because you lost or broke your phone, got a new one, and can't get into Google to get your contacts and photos, and we can't help you. Phone workers are not miracle workers. Learn to take responsibility once in a while. Thanks. I once found the phone on a park bench. Being nosy I went through the photo/videos and came across a video of the owner filming a lady in her sleep. It was extremely creepy. Around 10 minutes long, you could only hear him heavily breathing and muttering under his breath. Obligatory, not a phone store employee, but used to fix computers of people I knew and of people that they knew, but for some reason they'd turn up with anything electric like phones, dartboard machines etc because, well, frick knows lol. One day the young woman of a couple I sort of knew lived next to a mates asked me to fix their phone so said I'd have a look. They turned up with phone and no charger. Pointing out the obvious, they left mobile with me and said they'd look for the charger. As it happened, I managed to find one stashed away, so got to checking the phone out. Found no problems, so probably just their charger, but whilst looking through the phone, found a clip of the pair of them sparking up heroin in a spoon. Seriously folks, if you're going to record dumb shoot like that, better off buying a new mobile than letting some randomer find your evidence. This guy brings in his BlackBerry torch and asks for help getting it working again. My coworker picks it up, opens the back, and takes the battery out. All of a sudden he was overpowered by the smell of moldy rotten bread. He asks the guy and the guy just laughs, haha, well I did puke on it after the bar last night. Everyone in the store heard. My coworker was pissed, and my customers immediately commented about how gross that was. That guy was a douche for not saying something. And no, shoot, your phone doesn't work, it went swimming in vomit. A photo album that contains 150 photos. It's all plank from Ed, and Eddie, and pictures of egg salad. Edit, guys. I have a confession to make. When I typed this, I didn't think it would be the top post. I feel the need to come clean. I just can't take the guilt anymore. This wasn't a customer's phone. It was my phone. Please don't make me see this reposted to r/Miral. I don't work for the phone store, but they are one of our customers as we provide them janitorial services. Every day for a week, we kept getting dispatched emergency work orders because a disgruntled customer didn't want to pay her phone bill, so she would pee in the middle of the same store on their carpet, in front of other customers, and run out. Every day, for 5 days straight at different times till the cops finally arrested her.